Okay, starting back from yesterday. Right, emphasis is a fairly simple principle, possibly easy to grasp from all 7. Its importance artists add to certain object or areas of the artwork to attract the viewer's attention. And this can be done to be a color, line weight, texture, size, or value. This also lends to dominance, making one element more noticeable than the others. For example, in a page full of circles, squares, and triangles, using triangles more than the other 2 gives dominance to the triangles. See, so, Mr. Gray, if I have a drawing of, say, people standing in a line, how would I show emphasis on any one person?
One could be taller than the other.
One could be taller than the other. What else?
Mustang, please, the following 7th grade students in front of office, please. Layla Garcia, Sophia Alanis, Ariana Amador, Jemiah Singleton, Jeremiah Singleton, Camden Curtis, Amy Delosque, Ashley Elliott, Ashton Franklin,
This was a bad thing to
and
record.
James Green. To the front office, please.
You were saying?
What could be like more line weight on another?
More line weight, more detailed lines. Very good. And this can be done with literally every single element we have. Even space. Having someone be spaced further away from everyone else is another way of showing emphasis. Maybe that person is shown to be bad. Maybe they're shown to smell. Maybe they're shown to be in their own little world. Even just putting a few inches between one figure to another can add emphasis to one or the other. Now moving on to our other portion of the day, proportion, or basically size, is the principle that displays how 2 elements relate to one another in size. And at the top of a drawing, you utilize proportion extensively. Use size relation of one body part to another to try and make the drawing balanced. This step actually helps not in just keeping a drawing balanced, also aids greatly with the element of space and creating a sense of distance. Generally speaking, your leg cannot be longer than your arm, sadly. But your arm cannot be longer than your leg. If it is, you might be a monkey. Your head has to be a certain size, must be able to fit into your chest cavity, otherwise it's too big. If it's only been one pectoral, then your head is too small. Or this is the idea, and we'll go over this more when we get back to anatomical drawing. All humans are roughly 7 to 8 heads tall, despite whatever the age is, especially of very young children. That's true across the board. Now, first part to consider is scale. This is used to measure objects against a common standard. The standard might be a tree, and every other object is sized up against that tree. Or in this case, in this classroom, let's see, Ms. Gray, stand up. I go back to those cabinets over there. Not being lost. Thank you. Now, if we use you as a standard, that means anything that is larger than you would have here where? You're the standard. So if anything larger than you may appear where? Around you right now. The cabinets. Now, we're going from my point of view, then yes. Anything that is directly in front of me might appear larger if I was, let's say, a little bit shorter. But you are the height standard, which means anything taller than you must be really big, and everything smaller than you must be very short. Okay. An example here, the standard is a tractor, so the commanded proportion is just that. He's just close to the viewer. It's just a matter of space. Now the chick, that was just the artist being funny. Now if this chick was, say, overlapped against the man or overlapped against the tractor, then we can just assume that this is just a chick that is very close to the viewer. But because the tractor overlaps the chick, we now know the chick is just gigantic. A lot of chicken nuggets. Then we have altered proportion. This is the last one, which in itself is a way to create emphasis. And this principle working with the perspective of one element within the artwork draws attention to it while also becoming what all other elements are weighed against. So where the last one, Mr. Gray's height, is taken as the standard, whatever is directly in front of him is now a standard. So if your foot is out, your fist is out, if you are charging head first, that becomes standard in which everything else in the picture is weighed against. A classic example is a hero punching towards the viewer, making their fist look huge in comparison to the rest of the image. It's meant to be dynamic. It's also where we get all these little extra lines from. Mr. Gray, to talk about being dynamic, what kind of lines are these? Diagonal lines. Does diagonal lines show action? Therefore, these action lines here are meant to show that the fist is not only in movement, but it's actually coming at high speed. Now, for today's exercise, why don't we try creating proportion? Take two objects that are directly around you, and try two different kinds. One, scale, and two, alter proportion. How do you make these two objects look dynamic next to one another and also show this thing is obviously bigger than this thing? Keep that for your notes. I'll go over them on Friday.